Most of us think of AI as ChatGPT or Copilot. It goes way beyond that. And my guest, Melissa Lloyd, helps organizations in their readiness for adoption of AI in all its forms. You're going to hear what she has to say today as we talk about the different types of AI and how your organization needs to be ready to adopt them.
As we start to get comfortable, there's actually a bit of a flow, and we're evolving with time. And that's why that readiness piece is so critical. Because if you don't even start, or if we don't really help everyone successfully adopt this in ways that, again, we're using human psychology, behavior, emotional intelligence, and empathy, we're really digging into some key pieces here in order to help the successful adoption alongside of tool training as well. Then we can kind of, again, they're a little bit, people are a bit more open, they're more confident, they can see where things are going so that they can bring more opportunity into, say, AI automation or automating certain processes. We can open those conversations up in a more meaningful way rather than it being like, we're going to just use AI and we're going to just automate all these things. And of course, that's in eliciting, the fear-based mentality, which is what we do not want. We want to make sure that we come from that area of compassion and really foster that curious mindset in everyone in terms of getting them to not feel excited, because some people will feel excited and still feel neutral. But like I said, if it's neutral, curious, that's fantastic, better than fear and I don't want to advance forward, because that, of course, it's not going to be easy for that person moving forward.
I think for a lot of people, well, I should say a lot, for me, I'm fascinated by what the possibilities of AI are.
And not everybody has to be in that space. Really, it's being able to. I always just look at from the inner world versus the outer world, and being able to discern where. Again, there's so much noise right now, and so much information, and so much development and acceleration.
Pick it up where we were as it relates to kind of that multifaceted approach to AI and what the potential of it is, and how do you introduce that to create excitement about the possibilities of AI in an organization?
Again, I know I keep saying this, but it's really down to the foundational, the AI literacy piece. Once you can start to see, and then you, again, that's part of the readiness piece, being able to experiment. That's when our minds, I believe, we start to really open up the opportunities of what we can see expansively. And if you want to take it further and you start to be really fascinated by this by virtue of going, wow, I can't believe I can do all this even just at my fingertips or with my voice, then there's a lot of opportunity to see what's happening around the globe with regards to developments, and just being able to keep that mind really, really open. Not to say that you're going to do those specific things, but it's like, oh, I wonder if we tried this type of idea within this space of our organization, would that be a possibility? I think we're learning from everyone and all use case scenarios, and we all have to be really, really open to that. And that's something that's really important. Are our leaders open to learning? Are people open to learning? Are your teams clear on all your values when you're going through that learning phase? And then you can look at, of course, the bottlenecks that are in the day-to-day or where it's at in your space.
Well, this ready assessment, it sounds like it's certainly the starting place, because then you can kind of map out the path forward after you've got this baseline readiness assessment for AI adoption.
If you're getting value out of this video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit subscribe, and please leave me a comment, because I'm always anxious to hear from them, and I will answer every comment.
And at what intervals would you suggest you would reassess that readiness? Because I think there's always going to be people who are on different stages. I think of the bell curve, right?
Yeah.
68, 69% here, 99, 5% here. So I always think about the kind of the spread of people who would be willing to adopt and not adopt and so on. So when would you reassess? How often?
Again, it depends on the size of the company, the deployment of how you roll it out. Between, I'd say 6 and 12 months.
Okay.
because there's a lot of conversation around as well once you've kind of fed in, and there's a certain curve with regards to the generative AI adoption side, where you can be really excited and wow, once that transformation happens, then you kind of go back down and you're almost in this lull spot. You think, oh my goodness, oh, now I know all this. Now how do we make it all happen? And so people kind of hit that at different points depending on what they're trying to achieve. So it is that, between the 6 and 12 months mark would be a really good time to be able to kind of just re-action some of that assessment. And also just as a check-in to see where, how people are adopting. Is the communication stream still open? Where's leadership struggling? Still, what are the questions they have? Like, these are all part of really an assessment. What's changed in technology? Because again, I know I don't lead with technology and specifically bringing in tech first, but a lot of the time companies have to make some transitional, they have to change over some of the take the steps to increase their opportunity for the tech that's already in their company. Or they might have processes where somebody's using something over here and another person's using, and I'll give an example. It could be, I'm using Google Drive and somebody else is using Dropbox. How do we solidify that to kind of keep our processes tight? So that's another conversation. And that's not always a simple or easy one, depending on the size of the company. I find small, medium-sized company, there's a little bit more agility with small and medium-sized businesses. But yeah, there's a lot of key questions to ask, and I think that's a very important thing to kind of be able to put out today is, are we asking the right questions? And are we actually considering all these different pieces without it being really the stall or the bottleneck, which is not going to help us advance forward?
So for those who don't know the difference between, say, generative AI and other forms of AI, let's just do a quick snippet of the definitions of each.
Yeah, and you know what? I get this all the time, and I really love and I'm really glad that you brought this up, because a lot of the time we group it under the AI umbrella. So when we hear AI, it's like, oh, AI is just that's ChatGPT. That's all these things that we keep hearing about. And in fact, they are, to your point, they're very, very different. I like to say the AI is essentially that kind of, again, it's that overall term that we can use to house under different types of AI. So we were talking before about machine learning. So machine learning would be more AI that potentially it learns from experiences, just like you improve at a hobby, I would say. The more that you practice. As an example, just so it's not abstract, if you like Netflix, that's a perfect indication of machine learning. It's allowing you to, okay, here's my choice of movies, what I love, and it then, with the next time you come on, it pre-selects the movies that you like. So that's the kind of machine learning style. Deep learning is a little bit different. It's like a subset. It's a bit more advanced in terms of AI, and it works like a mini brain. We call them neural networks. And so it's understanding things at a deeper level. And again, just to give it an example, if you use facial recognition on your phone, that's a really good example, again, of kind of that deep learning. And then what we keep on, a lot of us are hearing, which is the area I'm in, which is generative AI. It's exactly as it says. It's generating. It's generating images, videos, music. There's all kinds of generation that it's doing. So that's a very different type of AI. So in those three categories, machine learning, deep learning, generative, they all do have very different functions. And then artificial intelligence is really about helping computers learn from data and be just more human-like in decision making.